20 seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, yo? Welcome back to another video. It's Anish. I'm joined with Drew, and today we're going to be talking about the recent reports that the Texans might fire David Culley after the end of the season and will hire Josh McDaniels to replace him. And before I begin the video, I just want to tell y'all to hit the subscribe button down below. We're looking to hit 2,000 subscribers. Anyway, let's go back to the video. And so this report was, I feel like we all kind of saw it coming, like with Nick Caserio now as the GM, with the influence of Easterby. They all have a connection with each other. It all seemed like something that was in the background, but it seemed like there's more and more reports that Josh McDaniels to the Texans might seem likely. And I have a very, very mixed opinion about this. There's a lot of pros and cons, of course, to Josh McDaniels. But Drew, what are your instant reactions and reactions to a possibility of Josh McDaniels being the future Texans head coach?
Yeah, and I think I would like it. And honestly, it really does make a lot of sense. Let's look a little bit back to Josh McDaniels' career as a whole. He went to college at John Carroll, which he was teammates with our current GM, Nick Caserio. As you know, Nick Caserio worked for the Patriots for a long time. Josh McDaniels has been in the Patriots organization for, almost 15 years. If you really think about it, he was the Denver Broncos head coach from 2009 to 2010. The St. Louis Rams offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach in 2011. And the rest of that time, he has been with the Patriots. He's a 6-time Super Bowl champion, along with Nick Caserio, who has also been in that organization for forever. And of course, as you know, he had the same agent at the time, Bob Lamont. He currently doesn't have the agent anymore. Of course, they're connected. Bob Lamont is also the agent of Nick Caserio and Jack Easterby. And you hate to say it, but Jack Easterby could mean a lot here in the connection between McDaniels. We do know that Caserio is good friends with Josh McDaniels still outside of football. We've heard rumors about Josh McDaniels and Easterby being good friends. And seems like that could be key. And the dots do connect. I was doing a little research and came across a video where these guys talked about how Nick Caserio's staff was all hired by him. David Culley was not the one who hired at Hamilton, not the one who chose to keep Tim Kelly. He got Lovie Smith to come here. Nick Caserio is virtually setting up the coaching staff so that he can get a better coach in here, make an upgrade. And it would make sense to bring in a guy like Josh McDaniels, a guy who he's close with, a guy who's been in the Patriots organization for forever. And you see he's a pretty good offense coordinator. You know, Tom Brady did leave, but now Mac Jones is taking the reins. He's made Mac Jones look like a pretty serviceable quarterback. The run game has looked very, very good with just a limited amount of running backs. Damian Harris has shown promise. Ramondre Stevenson has also been pretty good, but that's all because of Josh McDaniels and what he's done for that team. He's willing to adapt to the team's progressions, as you saw the change from Brady to Mac Jones. And I think that Josh McDaniels is a guy who can bring in here and can make the team really competitive and would 100% be an upgrade over our current coach, David Culley.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go on a rant of kind of the good and the bad. I don't know. I feel like there's better options than Josh McDaniels, and obviously there's that overlooking feeling of oh, we don't want to be the Patriots South. But I feel like that's the least of our concerns and cons about Josh McDaniels, because if we do end up winning, that's just going to go pretty quickly. And we saw with Nick Caserio, a lot of people hated the hire because Patriots South and whatnot, but he's made a lot of good moves, so people have looked past that. Same thing with Josh McDaniels. If that happens again, then people will look past the Patriots South kind of connotation. But I feel like that's the least of the concerns. Obviously, you mentioned the coaching stint for the Denver Broncos, and that ended pretty terribly for Josh McDaniels. In the 2009 season, he had a record of 8-8, and then 2010 he was 3-9, and then he got fired mid-season, so ended up with a record of 11-17. And during that time, there's a videotaping scandal as head coach of the Broncos where Scarnecchia was his guy. He brought that videotape to McDaniels, but he didn't immediately report it, which is part of the NFL protocol about videotaping and whatnot. And so Josh McDaniels was fined $50,000 along with the Denver Broncos for that. And so that's one thing. I guess that isn't too big of a stain on his career, but it apparently led to his firing later on because he didn't follow the rules or whatnot. And then he also benched Pro Bowl Brandon Marshall for disciplinary reasons in a crucial game that would have given them a playoff berth in 2009. So, and we've been pretty harsh on David Culley for disciplinary stuff, like most recently the one with Justin Reed, like that wasn't necessary. So who knows if that also carries forward, but that's kind of like the things about Josh McDaniels, and also the most notably, he declined the coach job after previously agreeing to it. He like pulled back and said, "Oh, I just want to do what's best for my family and whatnot," which is understandable, of course. But those are the like the most obvious cons with Josh McDaniels. But let me give him some praise. Like you said, he was part of all 6 Super Bowl wins, and it's probably Bill Belichick's um, most trusted or most valued coordinator coach in a sense, because the other ones like Bill O'Brien or Joe Judge, they haven't been up to par, obviously. And they haven't been like the guy like Josh McDaniels, who has been part of all 6 Super Bowl wins. He's been part of the initial blueprint, which is why we thought Nick Cassera would have been a great GM, because he was part of all 6 Super Bowl wins. So that's one of the reasons why he could be a good coach. And his brother coaches for the Texans, and he's known as a great offensive mind by other coaches. Like he's been, like I said, Bill Belichick's most trusted assistants for decades, and Bill Belichick has worked behind the scenes to keep him in the organization. They like blocked interviews from teams from interviewing McDaniels at times. So there's reason to believe that he could be very good. And a lot of people think that McDaniels could use his Denver experience and return to coordinator for the Patriots the same way where Bill Belichick uses Cleveland experience. Bill Belichick wasn't a great coach for the Browns, but when he returned back to New England, he used it as a learning tool to make the second time better than the first. So there's people thinking he deserves another chance, like you said, given the new what he's done with Mac Jones. And Bill Belichick calls Josh McDaniels as creative, a very forward thinker. He has got great poise during the game. He's never rattled, never loses the situation, never loses track of the situation, always a play or two ahead. And then if it changes and it doesn't follow that sequence, he can adapt to it pretty quickly. And we see how creative he is. I mean, obviously against the Bills game, there was a lot of wind. He really like utilized the run game, and he didn't want to put pressure on the rookie quarterback to make errant throws or whatnot. And so he realized that, and so he tried to diversify the run game as much as possible. And that's something I would like to see, of course, like the creativity. We lack that so much. I'm just watching Tim Kelly. It hurts to watch it. And I know there was reports earlier that they're gonna take off the training wheels for Davis Mills, but that was already reported like a couple weeks ago that they were gonna do that, and still they haven't done anything. So definitely would be someone. I mean, if we are going to be Patriots South, might as well embrace it in a sense. But a lot of mixed opinions for me. So I feel like there's better options. And speaking of better options, Drew, do you have any coach in mind who you think would be the ideal fit for head coach?
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna stick with the guy who I wanted us to hire last season. That's Matt Eberflus, the current Colts defensive coordinator. And there's a couple positives about him that I really, really like. He's not gonna mess with too much on the offensive side of the ball because he is a defensive coordinator. He doesn't know too much of that area. I feel like he's really a chill guy. Also brings a lot of energy to that defense. As you can see, the Colts defense has been performing insanely well over the past 3 seasons in which he's been there. And like I said, the positives are he's not going to mess with the offensive side, meaning he will get rid of the negatives like Tim Kelly, but he's going to keep Pep Hamilton there, who's been really solid with the development of Davis Mills. And I feel like he would also keep Lovie Smith because Lovie Smith tends to run a lot of Tampa 2, and Matt Eberflus's defensive scheme is all Tampa 2. So a lot of things I like there that he's going to keep what we like doing best. He's only going to get the team to improve better, play with a lot more energy, and I feel like he would be a major upgrade.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite candidates. I really wanted us to hire Eberflus, but obviously that didn't happen. Also, I forgot to mention in the Pro Football Network, article that Josh McDaniels doesn't think that Mac Jones is a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. He thinks like he will win in the regular season, but in the playoffs it will be definitely a different story. So we'll see if that's something that is like what is the reason why McDaniels might be enticed to go to somewhere like Houston and maybe coach Davis Mills instead, who he might think has better potential than Mac Jones. And I honestly think that it's been neck and neck between the two as to who's been the best rookie quarterback. But lately, I think Mills has been slowly running away with the best rookie quarterback so far. Just given like he's in a worse situation. And Mac Jones has basically like the best coaching ever versus David Culley, Tim Kelly, and things like that. So I mean, honestly, with that in mind, you can put Davis Mills above Mac Jones. So maybe that's something to consider that McDaniels might feel like Davis Mills is someone who would like to work with, or who knows about that. But that's definitely something to consider. But I think that's pretty much it for the video. Let us know your thoughts on this recent news. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Thank y'all for watching. Peace.